Hello folks, well I've managed to get the right part now, the right reducer, thanks to Alison, who made a trip to Screwfix for me, one of many. So I just got to put this, cut the pipe to length, put the reducer on, connect it up, and then we're ready to put water into the boiler system, which is all pretty exciting. Just to know where to cut this, really. Better being long and short, I suppose. I look back at my notes and it was entirely my fault that I got the wrong parts, because in my head this was a 25mm pipe and I was reducing it to 22, but it's not, it's a 32 pipe and I'm reducing it to 25. So, yeah. See if I can film this without getting in the way. I kind of doubt it, but we'll give it a go. I think that's in. Right. That's that. So that's off. I think what I'll do now is I'll go and turn the pump back on. Check for any leaks on, well, anywhere up to the shut-off valve. So got that joint to check, that elbow, that one there, which is plastic copper. So as long as we've got no leaks between that valve and there, we're good to go. Then I could potentially open that valve and start filling everything up. Scary. Slightly scary. Hopefully all my plumbing is going to stand the test. We'll see. Right, well, that's the pump back on. No leaks here. I don't want to fill this. Everything's off over there. All I want to do is open this valve just to make sure I can hear water coming through. Everything else. This supplies the pressure vessel and in turn the boiler and tank. no, I really don't want to do that. In fact, what I need to do before I turn that on, I just need to turn that filling loop off. Otherwise the water's going to go through that pump which hasn't got any washers in yet. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to put the washers in first instead. So this pump down here, this one you can see, that's the original pump that came with the boiler. So we've recycled it as such, and when I took it all apart, the washers in that had perished. So I've just got some new ones. I've got to put them on. That needs to be done before I put any water through. I'm hoping these washers are going to be okay. The ones that came off were sort of a thin rubber. I mean, they've been squashed, but you can see that they've just perished, broken. So the only ones I could find that were big enough were these silicone ones that are like, wow, they're probably 8mm thick, something like that. But they're the right size, so hopefully, right. And that's got a pump that way. Yeah. Well, certainly gone in all right. Turn that. Somebody told me that, and I don't know how true this is, any experienced plumbers out there, you can tell me. I'm told that it's much better if you can to have these pumps laying back like that rather than on their side, because the bearing's at the bottom, and with them this way, less strain on the bearing. It'd be nice to know whether that was true or not. Oh, yeah, that spanner's not big enough, is it? I've got to use this monster. Well, there's a valve either side of that pump which I'm going to keep shut for now, and so then I can open that up, and then that will give me a chance to fix those washers if it's not working properly. So. The big moment, not the really big moment, but a big moment. See whether there's water going to flow. Oh, yep. There's definitely water going through. Sounds like I can hear air over there, which is a worry. Why would there be air? Anyway, I'm not going to be able to film all this because it's in lots of different locations. I'm going to just work my way through and see what I find out. Well, there was air coming out that I found, and then it started to leak. Very simple fix though. Stupidly, I don't know how, but this joint here on the top of the heat exchanger was leaking, and so I took it apart, and I did notice when I was working there was an olive down here. I couldn't figure out where it come from, and it turns out that's where it had come from. There was no olive in that top joint, so that was an easy. Easy one to sort out, just put the olive in. Turn the water back on. The water is on now, and I'm happy to say everything is dry. But that's, there's lots of valves to open as yet, and lots of joints to expose, so we're not out of the woods yet. Well, to be honest, we're not in the woods. But if we do get into the woods, hopefully we'll be out of it not too long. We'll see. Well, the next valve I've opened is this one on the, this is the filling loop. So water is now going into the pressure vessel. And once the pressure vessel is full, which I think it is already, it then will flow out of here, down to there. That valve is shut off on the pump, so it will be going into the bottom of the boiler, and I see a drip there. All right, that's going to need tightening. It's all, because there's so many valves, it's all quite controllable. It's handy, you don't get anything. It's not like they're all being exposed at once, so just give that a tighten. I think that was simply a joint that I hadn't, a pipe that I hadn't fully tightened. It's not a joint, not a new joint. It's the joint into the bottom of the back of the boiler. Water is still flowing. There's, I'm assuming, looking at the pipework, that the tank will, the big tank will start to fill. I think it's going to go into the boiler through that bottom joint. And once the boiler fills, the jacket in the boiler, it will come back out. And then start to fill the bottom of the tank. Still flowing. And that tank is 2,200 litres. So it's going to take a while. I wonder if I open the two valves either side of that pump, because that would then allow the tank to fill much quicker. You may have figured out I don't really know exactly what I'm doing. I'm making this up as I go along. Well, it's not guesswork, it's kind of that let air move. So those two, so the water can now flow through this pipe. So this is the pipe in from the pressure vessel. So now that is filling into the boiler. It's now also coming through here along this pipe. It should be filling the bottom of the tank. I can hear water flowing through this. It won't be flowing through it, but well, it's probably just a reverberation, that sound. There's also a valve on the very top of the tank. You see the roof's been leaking here. That's another job I've got to do. There's that valve on the top, which I'm assuming is some kind of bleed valve. But well, good news is, I suppose, that There's no more dripping low down. The water is flowing. I suppose I ought to check that there's no leaks inside the boiler. You know, if the jacket has got a problem, it would be leaking inside there. I'll move this table out of the way and have a look at that. You know, this is inside the boiler. This is the firebox. Those two pipes at the top, these two, we think they're for instant hot water. It's not something we're going to be using, but we're assuming pipes coming off the back go into that and they get heated and you can draw instant hot water off of them. We're not doing that. There's a big firebox, as you can see. Water's still flowing. This could take some time. Hello folks, another day. I've been busy already this morning doing sheep stuff and chicken stuff and just the stuff that needs doing before you can really get stuck into what you really want to be doing. Yesterday I probably left you filling the tank. I've stopped filling the tank, not because I've got any problems particularly. I think everything so far, I've had a couple of little leaks, but they've all been just nuts that I hadn't fully tightened. And you know, you think, oh, I'll do that in a minute, and you don't. So yeah, just a couple of nuts needed tightening up. The tank's about a third full now, and there's a couple of outlets on the tank which were open, and I thought they had an insert in them, but they weren't. They're open, if you like. So the water started coming out. There's two blanking plugs for them. I've put the one in the bottom, and I just want to check with Rob before I blank the second one off that we're not going to need that outlet, because there was some discussion when we first started about what outlet I was going to take the underfloor heating from. So I don't want to fill the whole tank up and then Rob say, oh yeah, we could have used that for the underfloor, because that would just be a drag. It means I've got to drain it all down again. So I'm just on hold on that. I think Rob's going to call me this afternoon. Hello folks, it's another day now. I got my call back from a pal Rob with my query about the tank, and basically there was a couple of outlets lower down on the tank which I wasn't sure about their use. I thought we'd got to blank them off, but I just wanted to check, and I didn't want to go filling it up and with the blanks in when they could have been used for something else. But as it turned out, they're just sensor pockets, so that is right, they did need to be blanked off. So it was after dark, so I came in here with a torch and started filling the tank again and got the blanks in, and it took about 2.5 hours, but now the tank is full. The weather has been appalling. It just rained all day yesterday. I was in here trying to listen for, you know, air escaping or bubbles or whatever, and all I could hear was the noise on the roof. But there you go. We got it full. We got the tank full, but it's full in the sense that the tank is right to the top, but none of these valves have been opened, so the water hasn't gone out to the heat exchanger. It hasn't gone out to the various pumps. That pump is full, the one down the bottom, because that's where the water circulates right the way around to the bottom of the boiler. So this morning I'm just going to undo a valve at a time, which will let air into the tank, which has then got to obviously let out. So, and then once everything's full up, I think the next thing we've got to do is pressurise the tank, pressurise the whole system, and we do that by pumping air into the pressure vessel. There's like a little valve here, like a tyre valve. Sorry it's dark, it's just the way the weather is at the moment, and there's no proper light in here. Yeah, so you just get a foot pump or whatever and pump air into that tank. That blows up a big sort of rubber balloon inside the pressure vessel, and that squeezes the water right throughout the system, and then we're going to get it up to, there's a pressure gauge on there, which I'm assuming is telling me that it should be running at about 1.5 bar. So that's what we'll get it up to, where that red arrow is. So that's the state of play. I'm going to get that done, and then I think it's Sunday today. I think Rob is planning to come over either Tuesday or Wednesday, and then hopefully we'll get the boiler fired. I'll get Rob. Rob knows more about this stuff than I do, so I'll get him to just check things over, make sure I've piped everything right, and check my electrics for all the pumps and the switches that govern the pumps, and then hopefully midweek next week we'll start putting some warm water into the underfloor heating. That will be, that'll be great. So for now, just going to plug away in the wet and the damp, and get these valves opened and get the air out of the system. Right folks, so the first valves I've opened are the one either side of this pump. This is the pump which will pull the hot water through the heat exchangers when the flow switch kicks in, and the flow switch will kick in when there's water flowing through the cold taps, or the hot tap rather. So that now means that this side in this pipe, which is lagged, needs to be cleared, and there's a valve on that. So I'm thinking when I open that valve I will hear air bubbling, because there will be air all the way through those heat exchangers. Let's see what happens. I don't know if I'll be able to hear it above the rain. Yep. Can you hear that? There's definitely air bubbling through there then. So that hopefully means the air has gone out of these pipes and is now in the top of the tank where I can bleed it out. That's good. I'm not going to do the same with the central heating, because I don't want anything running in or out of the central heating as yet. So there will be water up to here, I believe, because the tank's full, and this is a return to the tank, so this should be full up to here, up to that valve, but I don't want any more to go through. That's that. So the next valve to open, I think, is going to be this one here. It'll be interesting to see if there's any, because this is connected to both the hot outlet and the cold return, and the reason that's there is so that we can leave this gate valve very, very slightly open, which means that when the cold water comes out the bottom of the tank and goes back into the boiler at the bottom, it's not stone cold, because apparently when you put stone cold water back into the hot boiler it will create condensation somewhere. I don't quite understand that, but that's what I'm told. So you need to add a little tiny bit of hot water back into the cold when it returns into the boiler to prevent that happening. So I think there might be a bit of air in this pipe, which if I undo this valve will be released up there into the tank. Yep, definitely some bubble in there. So far so good. Now what else can I release? Now this pipe here, this valve here is the hot supply, which will supply both the underfloor heating and the central heating. The central heating is there and has got a valve on it. The underfloor is straight through to the other side. I don't know whether I want that on or not yet. I probably don't. So I think that should be all the air in the tank that I want to get in there for now. So I'll have a quick press on the valve at the top, see whether there's water or air there. Air. Excellent, that's all the air gone. Well, not all of it. That's great. So everything seems to be working as expected. Yep, that's great. Oh, this weather. It's non-stop. Anyway, that's as much as I can do with the tank for now. I think I might look at the underfloor heating on the other side of the wall and see where the valves are for that, and whether I can actually undo the hot supply out of the tank. That'll let the air up and water into the supply to the underfloor heating. I wonder whether I should put another valve on there, although there is a valve going into the manifold, so that's fine. A lot of this is thinking out loud, and thank you for listening, because it helps me in my head vocalize what it is I'm trying to do, and it's amazing how much that helps. So if I talk too much, just fast forward it. But thank you.